Hello everybody, welcome to my new YouTube video. In this video I'm going to be talking about compressors and limiters, the controls on them, how they work and what they do. So here I've got a little project going I'm currently working on, and I've got the kick soloed for this track, and as you can see on the kick track I have a compressor and limiter loaded. So I'll play it without anything on at the moment. So if we open the compressor, we'll talk through the main controls. All the main controls I'm going to talk about should be standard on any compressor, whether you use your DAW's built-in one, a third-party one, a hardware one, software. All the basic controls should be the same. Some have more advanced functions, some have more advanced options, but we'll stick to the main common ones for the purpose of this tutorial. So what a compressor does is, most people think a compressor is a volume expander. It's actually a volume reducer. How it works is, when an audio signal gets above a certain volume, the compressor takes that audio signal and reduces its high peaks to a user-defined amount. So the first control that you've got is your threshold. What a threshold does is tell the compressor at what point it should kick in when an audio reaches a certain level. So if we put it to 0, the threshold, there should be nothing or very little happening compression wise, and there's not, a little tiny bit. But as you increase that, you can see the compressor starts to kick in. So minus 19 dB, 0 dB, and we'll set ours at roughly minus 12. So what that means is, once the audio goes above minus 12 dB, the compressor will start to work. The next option you've got, or the next main option, is your ratio. What the ratio is, the ratio tells the compressor how much to compress the audio signal by. So at the moment I've got on 2:1. So what that means is, for every 2 dB that the audio signal goes above the set threshold, the volume will only increase by 1 dB. So if my audio goes 4 dB over minus 12, so to minus 8, it will actually only go up to minus 10 dB because it's getting reduced by 2. If we go to 4, that would mean for every 4 dB that gets passed, that goes above the threshold, only 1 dB goes through. So if it goes 8 dB over minus 12 dB, only 2 dB volume increase will actually occur. So again, we'll look at that in action. It's on 2:1 again for now at minus 12. So we're getting a gain reduction of minus 6. Now move to minus 4 at 4:1 ratio. As you can see, it's almost doubled in what's getting reduced. Now a compressor can be a limiter, and a limiter can be a compressor. It all comes down to the ratios. A compressor you can usually set from very subtle ratio settings up to quite extreme ratio settings, whereas a limiter is just very, very extreme ratio settings. But if you get a compressor that can do very, very extreme compression settings, ratio settings, then it can act as a limiter. Also, if you get a limiter that can do very gentle ratio settings, that can also work as a compressor. Now the next control on a compressor is your attack. The attack is important because it tells the compressor how long it takes to start. So the threshold tells it when to start, the attack tells it how long it takes to start. So at the moment I've got on 0.5 milliseconds, so it's going to kick in pretty much straight away. However, as I increase that, the attack time will get longer. It's still coming in at minus 12, but it's coming in gradually rather than directly. Now that might be useful if you want to keep the initial transient of a hit or a sound. You would set this so the transient comes through, then the rest of the signal gets compressed, so it's all getting compressed around the transient. However, the transient might be the loud part you want. In that case, you want to start pretty much straight away and bring that transient down. Now the release is obviously the opposite to the attack. Once the audio signal has gone below the threshold, the release will tell how long it will take for the compressor to stop working. So again, I've got the release set to 50 milliseconds. So as soon as the audio goes below the minus 12 dB, the compressor will stop. If we increase that, it'll take longer and longer to stop. Again, I'll show you an example. So there, it stopped pretty much instantly. as we go up, it's taking longer and longer. Now this is also important because if you have it set too high, what might happen is, if you see it like me, I'm doing a kick. If it's too high, the compression won't actually stop before the next hit. So it's stopping somewhere here and therefore missing the compression on this part of the kick. But if you have it too low on a longer part, it might not compress the whole amount of the signal you want. It might just compress a small amount of signal and the rest becomes not compressed. So very important. One last one that most compressors have is in output. And what this does is just reduces or increases the compressed audio signal to make up for any volume loss from the compression. So I've got mine on 0, less, more. Pretty straightforward, that one. So now, a limiter. A limiter, like I say, it's very similar to a compressor, just with more extreme ratio settings. So you might use a compressor for any kind of audio compression volume. However, a limiter you might use when you just want to catch them peaks. So the compressor is basically going to control the main volume of the body of the sound. A limiter you want to control the peaks, the transients, the initial hits. Hence why I've got two on a kick. The compressor's kind of catching the body and everything, but the limiter is getting the transient for us. So again, kind of similar with the compressor. The first thing you need to do is set what point do you want the limiter to not let any audio through. So for here I've got minus 0.01 dB. Show you that in action. So there you go. Once my audio gets to that level, it's not letting no more volume through. I could change that to -5. So if we look on display here, once it gets to -5, there's no more audio going to get through. There you go. As we turn it up, you can see the volume, or the amount of volume that's being let through, is increasing. Again, as with the compressor, you have an attack time, but once the limiter has reached its threshold, how long does it take the limiter to start working? Release. Once volume's gone below the threshold, how long before the limiter stops working? And again, we have a gain function. No gain, as you can see, not pushing it, not crushing it. As we go, getting into that horrible distortion type of clipping. So yeah, that's what compressor and limiter are and what the main controls are. So some examples of using this. I've just showed you one with the kick. It can kind of like shape, any transient shape can shape your sound, even out the volumes in it. Now another one, sidechain compression. Obviously in this track I've got some bass going as well, so I'll just play all the drums and the bass together. And obviously hopefully what you can hear there is the kick is interfering too much with the bass and they're kind of clashing a little bit because they share some of the same frequency ranges. So if we just get an Ableton Live compressor and chuck that on the bass master track. So on Ableton Live compressor, it has what's called a sidechain. If you press this triangle, it'll open the sidechain bass. And what sidechain does, it takes one audio signal and allows the volume or the ducking to be controlled by another audio source. So we want the bass's audio to duck when the kick plays. So from the audio input, select the kick source. So once the kick plays, the compressor is going to kick in on the bass. Now I want the bass volume to be 0 when the kick's playing, so I've set my ratio to infinity, so it's basically a limiter now. It's limiting what's going on. The attack I want to happen straight away. I don't want none of the transients or none of the initial sound of the bass come through when the kick's playing, so I want that instant reduction. I'm going to click auto release for now and see how it goes. So I'll play that. As you can hear, little to no difference. That's because I've not set the threshold on it. So I'm going to play it and set the threshold as I go. No volume, full volume. I think that works about right. So again, no limit or compression on. Limited compression on. So you're basically using compression or limiting to duck the volume of the bass so the kick can come through. Another use of compression and limiting is on lead sounds or any sounds like that. If the volume's uneven or playing different velocities, you can use compression to shape the overall body of the sound, give it a more even volume, and then compressor if you need to bring the peaks more in line with the rest of the volume of the audio signal. So that's about it for compressors and limiters. I hope you've learned something. Have a good day or night, and as always, if you've got any comments or you want to say anything in the future, please just drop a comment on the video below. Thank you very much.